What's going on, everybody? Good late afternoon or early evening for some of you. We've got some reports from our first padded practice at the VMAC this year. That's right, the Seattle Seahawks had their first padded session of training camp at the VMAC earlier today. We're still getting a trickle of information coming out from the people who were there, but there's a lot of stuff already to say, so I'm going to go ahead and make the video now. So let's go ahead and get through it. Let's talk about it. There's a lot to get into, as you can probably see from up above here. By the way, shout out to Curtis Allen. I haven't been looking at his tweets very much in these training camp roundup videos I like to do, but he does great work on X. He's actually at the VMAC, of course, but beyond that, he's going in depth in a way that I think that the other beat reporters don't have the opportunity to do. So we're going to be taking a look at a lot of his tweets today. He's doing awesome stuff over there. Let's get into it. It's going to be all kind of jumbled together. I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge that now. This is going to be kind of an amorphous blob of information because this stuff is coming out so quickly and there's so much of it. It's hard to really organize everything. But let's go, starting with who was present today. Jody Allen and Burt Cold were present today. I believe this was the first time this year that they were there, so they remain engaged, they remain interested, they remain hands-on, while not being too hands-on as owners. I know that a sale is coming because it has to, and I understand that another owner could be better. But I do want to say this, I think Jody Allen is doing a pretty good job as the owner overall. There was a time where we wondered if she was really into this or not. Over the last few years, I think she's proven that she is. And it's things like this that help reinforce that. Now, maybe most owners are going to be at an occasional training camp session, but I imagine there are owners out there who aren't. So, good to see. Now, let's go ahead and pour into some of the things that we saw out there on the field. I think that one of the highlights of intrigue, I guess I should say, like what's going to happen now, would be what's going to happen on special teams because McIntosh got hurt. You've got a couple of people who talked about that. We got Dan Viennes here talking about how John Reese Plumlee was doing some punt fielding. There's also this from Curtis Allen. Torrey Horton, Steven Sims, Demarion Williams are taking punts. Again, Horton is the dream because he's pretty much guaranteed to make this team anyway. If he can actually do kicks and or punts, that's fantastic. If it has to be Steven Sims, then so be it. But I don't have Sims making the roster, so that's another roster spot you can't give to somebody else, so not ideal. And I don't know much about Demarion Williams or Plumlee, for that matter, to be perfectly honest. But regardless, that is going to be something to watch. That's what we have right now. Pretty decent spread. Overall, today was about the offense struggling. Today was about the offense not really doing what the coaches were hoping to see, which, again, I don't think this is unexpected. I want to be clear about that. I don't think this is anything to be alarmed about because the defense should still be ahead of the offense, but it is worth noting that McDonald was not happy with the physicality on the offense. He thought they didn't run the ball very well today. And as you go through some of the individual call-outs in these tweets, you'll see that the offense was not great. It wasn't just running the ball. So let's get into it a little bit here. First, talking about the offensive line. The number one offensive line at the start of the day, according to Dan Viennes, was Cross, Zabel, Olu, Haynes, Lucas, which is kind of the default offensive line, I think. That should be assumed. But Josh Jones did get a little bit of work with the ones, which is, I don't know what to make of that. If Josh Jones is our right tackle for any significant amount of time this year, I think this is going to be this offense will be a tough watch at times. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but it is interesting to note that Jones was apparently the guy who was getting reps as a right tackle with the ones. And Viennes also pointed this out later in the day. The most used offensive line combo was Cross, Zabel, Olu, Jalen Sundle at right guard, and Abe Lucas. That is fascinating. For one, I didn't think that Sundle was going to have guard flexibility, but they seem to think that he does. So, I mean, that's cool, right? You want to be flexible. But is this some kind of an indictment on Haynes, Bradford, and Lomia? Or is this just them trying different stuff? It's hard to know. It's early. They definitely want to try different things out. They definitely want to be creative. But as time goes by in this camp and we get past the first couple of weeks here, I hope that we can find something permanent and we can find something stable. Because if Jalen Sundell is giving guys like Christian Haynes and Anthony Bradford and Lomia a run for their money for playing time, that's a problem, because Christian Haynes, third round pick, you have expectations of that guy. That's a day 2 pick. And Jalen Sundell was supposed to be competing for the center position at best. The fact that he might bump over to a position he doesn't typically play, and if he is indeed competing for that starting job, I don't like what that says about Haynes. But we're going to need more data before we make any conclusions there. But it is worth noting, they went to this combination a lot today. Curtis Allen with some quick hitters mixed in here with some other people reporting as well. One thing that he noted that I thought was kind of interesting, Josh Jones and Abe Lucas were running drills with the tight ends, picking up pre-snap motion from the pass rusher. Interesting. I guess if Abe Lucas is running tight end drills, that means he must be fairly healthy, so that's cool. We like that. Definitely like the sound of that. Brady Henderson here highlighting some of the bigger notes. And the thing that I really wanted to bring to focus here, first of all, we had the Nick Emenwari pick 6, which we'll talk about again later because that was probably the highlight of the day. Nick Emenwari pick 6 Milroe. It was they were up against their own goal line. They were like at the 1 yard line. Milroe tried to get it to Brady Russell, and Emenwari housed it. It spoke to the ability of the McDonald defense to really confuse the offense. We also had a Reek Woolen pick on Sam Darnold, so 2 interceptions by the defense today. In the case of the Milroe interception, I don't really mind that so much because it's better for, I'd rather have Nick Emenwari be good than Jalen Milroe right now because Emenwari is the guy who's actually going to play. And I'm not worried about the Darnold pick either because my understanding is that he played great outside of this interception. And there was also a sense that the players were really excited to get the pads on and actually be able to hit people. Damian Martinez, in particular, really liked getting out there and being able to actually use his physicality. And there was a lot of people saying that he had his best day of practice so far, and we need him now. Maybe we're not going to need him a lot, but we're going to need him some. So great news there. Really excited about Damian Martinez. Let's see here. Talking about the quarterbacks, Curtis Allen. This is what I was saying earlier about Darnold. Darnold looked really, really good, apparently, on the drills without defenders. Again, this is just testing pure accuracy when you're unfettered. Locke was good as well, so Locke continues to have a good camp, and Milroe, erratic. And the last couple days, we have seen more mixed feedback on Milroe, and I've heard he's made some great plays, but he also blows the easy one. It is kind of what you would expect for a player like Jalen Milroe. He has had problems with the shorter passes going back to, I think, high school. Certainly going back to college. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But it does highlight the fact that he's not ready right now, and I hope the team will respect that. They did some red zone drilling without any pass rush. One thing that Curtis Allen noted here, sticky coverage, Darnold having trouble finding guys uncovered. That may happen a few more times than we'd like to have it happen when the season starts. To be perfectly honest, we did downgrade at the receiver spot, bottom line. Whatever little you think of DK Metcalf and however little Tyler Lockett had to give last year, I don't think that aging Cooper Kupp and MVS are upgrades. So there are going to be a lot of other things this offense does better this year. The offensive line should be better just by virtue of the fact that it can't get worse. The running game should be better by virtue of the fact that we're going to use it. The play calling should be better. There are going to be things about this offense that are better this year for sure, but this is something we may see again, where the receiver, there are going to be games and moments where players just don't really get open. And this was not the last time I heard somebody say something negative about the receivers in practice today. For instance, we had VNs here talking about Darnold a little bit here. He had 3 straight touchdown passes at one point, but 2 of the 3 were dropped by his receivers, including a perfectly thrown fade to JSN that was bobbled. Hopefully you don't see a lot of that in the regular season. I will say that so far in JSN's career, early on he was dropping a lot of passes, but last year after he broke out, he was catching everything. So he has good hands. Shouldn't be dropping a lot of passes. Once the games get going, you would expect him to catch pretty much everything. So I would say that I mean, first of all, the most obvious thing is we can't let this happen. But again, unless it becomes some kind of a trend or pattern, not really a ton to worry about here. Maybe it's more valuable to just say Darnold looked really good. More stuff with the receivers and cornerbacks doing work. Curtis Allen points out here the quarterbacks look great. Locke and Milroe. Really good throw from Milroe to Foster Montori. Although the next rep, he was way off. Again, inconsistency. This is what you expect from a younger player. But it's why he's not Russell Wilson, people. He's not going to walk in that door, take that job, and just hit the ground running the way that some people seem to think that he can. Let's do this the right way. There's going to be a right way to handle the Jalen Milroe situation, and it's clearly allowing him to get better on his own terms right now. One highlight today was the blitz pickup drill. There are a couple of clip threads on X showing the blitz pickup drill with the linebackers and running backs. One of the things to note here is that Zach Charbonnet, if you watch through the clips, again, I'm not going to play it here on the video, but Charbonnet looks really good doing the blitz pickups because that's one of his strengths as a player. He's good in blitz picking up. And we also had Damian Martinez look really good. This was called out a couple of times. Damian Martinez had one of the best one-on-one pass pro periods I've seen by a back in 9 years on the Seahawks beat. Now, Corbin Smith's a positive guy, but that's quite something. Quite something to say something like that, especially because Damian Martinez, as far as I could see and as far as I could tell, was not a great blitz pickup guy in college. That was not his strength. Third down running back stuff was not his strength. If he's able to become better in this area, that's just one more value add he has for us. So that'd be awesome. But this is not necessarily something I expected him to be great at. And we'll see if this persists. But if he wants to add value on third down, that's all the better. We had this from Curtis Allen as well, called out the run blocking drill offensive line. It was as expected, except Sundle at center, Bradford at right guard. Again, they're trying stuff. And this is a viable starting offensive line for the Seahawks at this point. This could happen. Like, this is a realistic possibility. Cross, Zabel, Sundle, Bradford, Lucas, that could happen. So I wouldn't bet on it, but I'm not closed off to it. And we have another one from Curtis here that kind of outlines the issues the offense had today versus the defense. Excuse me. So they did an end zone behind our back drill. This is where Milroe threw the pick six to Emin Wari. We had 2 false starts. We had a safety by Mike Morris tackling, I think it was Halani, and then a long throw to Saubert incomplete. That's mostly bad offense. Now, again, the offense is behind the defense. That's fine. But this is part of what McDonald is thinking about when he's saying he was a little disappointed in the offense today. There was a one moment where Reek Woolen got dinged up out there, but he immediately got back out there like 3 minutes later. So crisis averted on Reek Woolen. So if anybody was wondering about that, we're fine there. Talking about the scrimmage here, one thing that Curtis Allen did point out is that he liked the outside running game, I think is basically the way he put it. Darnold was getting pressured a lot, but the run game did look nice. They ran a jet sweep with K9, and he ran roughshod with it. So I'm liking that. I like the idea of running jet sweep with K9. I think that's something that would fit his skill set and should fit the skill set of our offensive line. We did get some positive feedback on the offense from a mini drive session that Curtis detailed here. Quick throws, motion, misdirection, Charbonnet run on a hesitation right through the middle. So there were good moments from the offense. It wasn't all bad, but there was enough bad for McDonald to be not thrilled with it at the end of the day. I'll put it to you that way. Drew Lock with a crisp hurry-up offense to set up a Myers 52-yard field goal. Saubert and Oots guarding the edges on field goal try. That's 2 new guys playing key roles on special teams. Hopefully it works out. We need to find some of these special teams aces that we've been deprived of in recent years. But this is, I guess, the more important part here is that Drew Lock continues to look good overall. This was after Curtis's initial tweet that said Drew Lock looked good. Milroe had an opportunity to lead a hurry up as well. Hit Montori with a slant bullet. He is going to be throwing those bullets. That is kind of how he plays football. It was a really good throw here. Defender was right on it, but too hot a pass to knock away. So he's coming. He's coming. We're seeing some stuff. It's fine. It's cool. It's good. But I don't believe the consistency is there for him to be an actual NFL quarterback yet. And a couple of highlights today involving Abe Lucas. We had a monster block on Boye Mafe by Abe Lucas on a right side run that allowed K9 to get the sideline. And then a little bit later, DeMarcus Lawrence got the best of Abe Lucas and just kind of decleated him. I've seen the clip of the latter. It's pretty notable. Oh yeah, it's actually in this tweet right here, which I'm not going to play, but go check out Greg Bell if you want to. But they were doing some one-on-one, and DeMarcus Lawrence just bullied him, which Abe Lucas is in the conversation for strongest player on the Seahawks offensive line. That's no joke. So, also notable, maybe even more notable than that to us, Lawrence is drilling at standing edge rusher and defensive ends. So that may be a way we utilize D-Law a little bit until Nwosu gets back. You may see a little bit of D-Law standing up at edge, which, I mean, it's not amazing because he's not naturally that kind of a player, but if you can survive it for a little while, then it's great. A couple of absences noted today. Ernest Jones IV was not there due to a personal matter. No indication what it is yet, but no indication that it really means much. Shaq Griffin was also absent, although McDonald said he should be back soon. And Jonathan Hankins was also absent. All right. So that's it for now. There may be more stuff that comes out down the line, but I figured that was so much information. I could just make a video about what we had. And if anything else big comes out, maybe I'll make a follow-up later, but wanted to go ahead and put this together now. Thanks for watching. Once again, I'm going to say, come watch me on Twitch tonight. We're finishing Snake Eater, and then we should be starting Peace Walker. So tune in. We're going to have fun. Last maybe hour and a half of Snake Eater, and then we're doing Peace Walker. Going to be great. Metal Gear Solid Marathon rolls on. Go Hawks.